45 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA.
From the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM.
that is hopeless, open, other doors will open, falling for your ass. All the vows you made are broken, and you leave the options open for your victims to crawl back. I feel like every other to you, just another number for the town you're at. Maybe when you're older, all the pain you may be shoulder will finally find its way back. Shot down by you, knocked down by your pretty little blue-eyed crazy. Had a thing for you, bought a ring for the one I thought would be my baby. Can't forget what you put me through. I guess it's just the blue-eyed crazy in you. You always want to be the one who's in control, and my cars will always seem to fold. Something tells me I should probably hit the road, but you're the map to everything I know. I was always chasing, and you were hell-raising, bringing me down to my knees. I guess your heart was just wanna run free. Shot down by you, knocked down by your pretty little blue-eyed crazy. Had a thing for you, bought a ring for the one I thought would be my baby. Can't forget what you put me through. I guess it's just the blue-eyed crazy in you. Shut down by you, knocked down by your pretty little blue-eyed crazy. Had a thing for you, bought a ring for the one I thought would be my baby. Can't forget what you put me through. I guess it's just the blue eyes. I guess it's just the blue-eyed crazy. Shot down by you, knocked down by your pretty little blue-eyed crazy. Had a thing for you, bought a ring for the one I thought would be my baby. Can't forget what you put me through. I guess it's just the blue-eyed crazy in you. I guess it's just the blue-eyed crazy in you. I guess it's just the blue-eyed crazy in you.
You are listening to WMNH 95.3. The commander to the supreme leader, Matzo coming down.
Welcome, everybody. Here we go. It is that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast Channel 6 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. It's Tuesday, October 24, 2023. We've got a great musical guest coming up in the second hour. She's going to be joining me live in studio, Kate Schimke of Darling Hill. Darling Hill is the name of the project. But she works with a lot of different people, but I think she's primarily a solo artist. So really looking forward to meeting her, and we'll share some of her music. She sent me some really interesting studio tracks that we'll feature in the second hour while she's here, and we'll talk about them. And so that's coming up in hour number 2, numero dos. And in the first hour, well, we have more, of course, as the house turns. Well, we have a speaker designate, as the term is, I believe, if you nominate someone, but then, they have to be confirmed. They have to be able to get to that magic number of 217, or do they? We shall see. We shall see. I don't know if Tom Emmer is going to be, if they're going to vote on him today or not, but Apparently, some conservatives are already mad at him because he voted to affirm marriage equality, and that's not everybody's happy about that. But anyway, we'll get to it. We'll see how much we get to anyway. Yeah, a little long intro today on the show. A little extra music. I was communicating with someone about some details for Thursday. Thursday's show, I will not be here, but I have a brand new best of that I've put together, and I sent to Peter White, who is, of course, not only the morning show host here, but also our program director. Thursday, I'll be in Providence for a what is the name of the event? The name of the event slips my mind now, but I'm going to be. This is going to be cool. Miracle Mindset event. Yes, I will be presenting in front of a room full of people. I believe they will be real estate agents. So really looking forward to that. That will be on Thursday. So, and then I'll be back on Friday, of course. Eric Pilcher is in the chat room and says, best of Eric Pilcher. No, but I can tell you this, Eric, one of your classic film reviews did make it in to the brand new best of that will be airing on Thursday. So not a best of Eric Pilcher per se, but Eric Pilcher is included. Speaking of being included, if you'd like to be included in the program today, you can. The studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook Live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007. By the way, speaking of music, we played Mental Note from the band Able Blood, who were here with us a number of weeks ago. Great, great band. And we also played Blue Eyed Crazy, which is from Dakota Smart, who was our musical guest yesterday in the second hour. And that guy, what a talent. Love his voice. And I told him of the songs that we played. By the way, most of what we played yesterday for songs, most of them aren't even out yet. So that was a world radio premiere of a few tracks. But I told him that song, Blue Eyed Crazy, I mean, that's a hit. That is a hit song in the making. Well, it's already been made. You know what I mean? It will be a hit song if I have anything to say about it, and I've decreed it so. That will be a hit song. Let's say hello to everybody in the Facebook Live chat. J-Fed from the great state of Vermont joins us and says, good afternoon, everyone. I mentioned Eric is in there. Mike from Queen City Cabinetry, one of our great sponsors here at WMNH 95.3 FM. And, of course, I get to see Mike every Friday night on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. This coming Friday night, I can't believe it's been 3 years. The 3-year anniversary of apparently so. Time goes far quicker than I'm comfortable with. But yes, 3 years of Retro Spectrum Radio on as of Friday night. Retro Spectrum Radio here on WMNH. The show actually goes back like 12 years or something. We were talking about that recently. I can't remember if it was on air or off air on Paul's show, but yeah, but it's been 3 years since it's been airing here on WMNH on Friday nights. I can't believe it. Easy G, Eric Gagnon is in the chat room, says, happy 2 months to Christmas Eve. Oh, yes, the holidays. Yay. Although I did hear they're already talking up this year's Miracle on Elm Street on the morning show. Very exciting. Always a pleasure to be a part of that. That's a great event. Jenny, of course, is in the chat room and says, shalom, peeps. Also, Carol Zaworowitz joins us and says, good afternoon. J-Fed says, Pink Floyd rules, and I think he was getting some Pink Floyd vibes from that track, Mental Note by Able Blood. Yes, I can see that. Isaac Banks joins us in the chat room and says, hello, Matt Connarton, and hashtag Jen Coffee. Good afternoon, you both. I say it that way because there's a question mark at the end. Why does Jenny get a hashtag and I don't? Hardly seems fair. Isaac Banks also says, good afternoon, hashtag Victoria Piper. How are you doing? I am sure you will email me back on Facebook chat message. Well, not if you're pushy about it. She won't, Isaac. Don't be pushy. Isaac Banks also says, Greensboro Parks and Recreation. So now, yes. So now Isaac is writing to the Greensboro, North Carolina, of course, Greensboro Parks and Recreation in Greensboro. I was wondering if UNCG girls would come to the Lindley Recreation Center free dance on Thursday evening at 6 to 8 p.m. so they would help you out. I was wondering the same thing, Isaac, and I commend you on your planning skills and coordination and so forth. Let's see. And J-Fed is saying, don't do it. Well, I think it would be nice if they go and help. I think that would be very nice. And Isaac clarifies to Jason, it's just for my friend, Jeff Pagari, however you say it. Scott Robinson says, calm down with that Christmas talk, Eric, referring to EZG, of course. Melanie La Liberty, also from the great state of Vermont, joins us in the Facebook live chat. Jenny says, I'm excited. I'm so excited for you, referring to the event on Thursday that I'll be doing in Providence. And Miriam says, so cool you're doing an event. Thank you, Miriam. Used to do, when I played in bands, one of the bands I was in, My Life Crisis, we used to play a lot of shows in Providence. This will not be at a music venue, of course. Let's see. Jenny says, I need to get a canvas to come up with something for Miracle on Elm Street. Yeah, she'll be donating a painting this year, I believe. Let's see. All right. 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007 if you would like to join us. Hey, before we get to, I do want to talk about Tom Emmer. Melanie says, a nude painting? Oh, my goodness. Yes, of me. It's going to be very exciting. I saw this. Now, this not having to do with Tom Emmer, and if you're just joining us, and if you don't know who Tom Emmer is, he could be the next Speaker of the House in the House of Representatives. But I just saw this pop up on Politico. We're very pro, at least on this program, we're very pro-vaccine, being, anti-COVID and whatnot. And I saw this. According to Politico, 3%. This actually shocked me. I mean, I thought the number might be low. I didn't think it would be this low. 3, not 30. 3%, the number 3% of Americans have gotten the new COVID shot, but the CDC director remains confident. I haven't had a chance to pre-read this article yet. I just happened to see this. I was all set to talk about what we were going to talk about. Well, I guess that's obvious. But then I saw this and I said, what? But the CDC director remains confident. I must tell you, seeing 3%, and we're this late in October, I am not confident that Americans are good. Now, I also don't care as much as I used to be fair, because at this point I guess we're in the post-pandemic phase of this. At this point, it's more like, okay, well, those of us who want to protect ourselves can. Jenny and I are both vaccinated. We got the updated COVID shot. Those of us who want to protect ourselves can. If you want to take the risk and get sick, that's on you at this point. Hope you don't, unknowingly, unwittingly get COVID and expose yourself to someone who's high risk or whatever it may be. And if you are high risk, I hope you get the vaccination. Or if you're not necessarily high risk, but you just want to make sure you avoid COVID the same way, the same reason people get the flu shot. But so at this point, I'm not particularly concerned. Early in the pandemic, especially before we had the vaccines, it was like, hey, everybody, could we please maybe take this seriously so we don't end up with 1 million people dead, 1 million Americans dead, which is what we ended up with. More than 1 million Americans died. But, at this point, it's kind of like, okay, we're vaccinated. You can all take your chances, and I'm not upset. I think everyone should get vaccinated. I think it would be smart, but obviously that is not in the cards. And I realize, looking at this, and I see 3%. That means if you're in a room with 100 other people, and I'm not even good at math, but if you're in the room with 100 other people, chances are only 3 of you have been vaccinated. Actually, there's supposed to be about 100 people that I'm going to be in front of at that event on Thursday. Chances are, out of that 100 people, only 3 of us in that room will have been vaccinated with the new COVID shot. Again, that's fine. I'm actually not worried about it because I'm vaccinated. But this isn't... now, I think part of the problem is... Miriam in the chat room says, I'm one of the 3%. Yes. I think part of the problem is there's a post-pandemic complacency, but I don't even mean just generally among Americans. I mean, I never hear the Biden administration talking about it anymore. Do you? It's like this forgotten thing. But, people are still being hospitalized for this. And vulnerable people are still dying from it. See, what I figured would happen is we would get to a point, well, I think we are at this point in a sense where, again, post-pandemic, it's going to be an annual thing. If you're someone who gets vaccinated, I always get a flu shot. I always have. It'll be an annual thing. You get your flu shot, you get your COVID shot, because COVID is here to stay. It's going to be with us for the rest of our lives. I believe. We didn't put this virus down when we had the chance. So we're stuck with it. But I figured, people they go to get their flu shot, they'll get their updated COVID shot as well. It'll be an annual thing. And who knows, someday in the future, perhaps they will even be combined into one shot. But here's the thing. Now, this also surprises me, though. So only 3% of Americans have gotten the new COVID shot, but by contrast, 39% have had their flu shot. So 39% of Americans went and got their flu shot. And congratulations on that. I think it's a smart thing to do. I know we live in an era where it's kind of the cool thing to not do that because, if some people think that if the government suggests that you do something, then it's, cool, pro-freedom, pro-liberty to be, like the Rage Against the Machine song, blank you, I won't do what you tell me. But just because the government wants you to do something doesn't mean that it's bad. And just because you refuse to do something that the government would like you to do doesn't mean you're, some sort of rebel. At least I'm not impressed. But 39% have had their flu shot, but only 3% have had the new COVID shot. That really surprises me. So both of these things surprise me. JFed says in the chat room, did you see people are starting to not vaccinate their dogs? This might be a really stupid question, but are you supposed to vaccinate? See, I've only had cats. I don't even know how that works. Yeah, I mean, you probably... Do dogs get vaccines? I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if you're serious and dogs are supposed to have certain vaccinations, but people are, for rabies and things. Okay. No, that makes sense. Right. Okay. I guess I did know that now that you say that, for rabies. Duh. And Jenny says for distemper. But yeah, people not getting their dogs vaccinated, that makes total sense to me. Why someone who is an anti-vaxxer would say, well, I don't want my dog to be microchipped either. Whatever they believe. I don't really care. I mean, to me, talking to an anti-vaxxer, it's like talking to a flat earther. It's like, whatever you think, I don't care at this point. Just go think that and go play with your friends. Have fun. Have fun being an anti-vaxxer. I know it makes you feel like you're a free thinker and you're smarter than all these gullible people who believe in science and medicine, but I'm not impressed. But you have fun. I feel badly for your JFed says I'm serious. Okay, I feel badly for your dog who's not getting their vaccines, not getting their shots. That's kind of mean to do to the dog, but what am I going to do? I'm not going to try to convince you to make good choices because you've made your choices and you have fun. Miriam says, sorry, didn't mean to say that so rudely. Say what so rudely? I don't know what you said rudely, Miriam. I don't think you have anything to apologize for. Jenny says, they are coming for your poodles. Ha ha ha. Yes. Well, it says here, now, this is from the article on Politico. The Biden administration's campaign to convince Americans to get an annual COVID shot is off to a very slow start. Yeah. Well, no kidding, because I haven't seen anything. I haven't. Have any of you seen anything from the Biden administration trying to encourage people to get their COVID shot? I haven't seen anything. Now, in fairness, we are living in a time where maybe some things just aren't getting through because the news is being swallowed up by Israel at war with Hamas, and we don't have a speaker. Our legislative branch of our federal government is paralyzed because we don't have a House Speaker. Those have been the two big things, and of course there's. I think people are already getting desensitized to it and probably have for a while, but there's also Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and there's a lot going on. So, but I was not aware that there was any campaign from the Biden administration trying to encourage people to get their COVID shot. It says here, even so, the nation's top disease fighting official says the U.S. remains on track to hit last year's uptake levels, which crested at just 17% of the population. So 17% last year. Wow. Yeah, we're on track to hit that lofty goal. Okay. It says here, so far, 12 million people, or about 3.6% of the population, have gotten the shot in the 5 weeks since it hit pharmacy shelves. Though reporting lags mean it's likely a bit higher, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Mandy Cohen said. More people, by far, 128 million, have gotten their annual flu vaccine, Cohen said, attributing the difference to long-held routines. That's odd to me because it's, unless people think that it's scary to get them both, and so they go get their flu shot, and then they just, I don't know what happens there. I just got mine both at the same time, while I'm there, might as well just do both. There's no problem with it. Well, unless you're an anti-vaxxer, I'm sure you found something on some fringe website somewhere that some quack doctor who claims that there's a problem with it. But as far as I know, there's no problem with it. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not qualified to give medical advice. But from what I understand, there's no problem with it. You can get more than one vaccine at a time. Doesn't matter. That's my understanding. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I'm sure you can go on YouTube and find, within seconds, you could probably find 10 YouTube videos of crazy people telling you otherwise. And that if you get both shots at the same time, you're going to grow a third arm or something. But as far as I'm aware, that's not the case. Cohen is in the middle of a national tour promoting vaccination targeting elderly people at most risk from COVID, as well as underserved communities. She's also meeting with lawmakers on Capitol Hill, including House Republicans who have criticized the agency, of course, as part of her efforts to rebuild trust in the CDC. She spoke about her pitch in an interview with Politico on Tuesday. Should we bother with this? Rhonda Favero joins us in the Facebook live chat from the great state of California. Hello. Jenny says, Matt and I got our jabs together. Now we glow in the dark. Yes. Well, some side effects are fun. Scott Robinson said, I stayed at a Hilton last night, so I can say that I am qualified, and it's and that it's going to be fine. Let's see. So she was asked in an interview, who's this person? What is her name again? Mandy Cohen. She runs the CDC now, I guess. So she was asked in an interview, the vaccine numbers seem really low. How do you explain them? And she said, what I would say about that number is, just like the process, it's different. We don't have the same level of visibility. When you don't purchase and distribute, you also aren't getting the same real-time information about who's vaccinated. The number is really just a number that our pharmacy partners share back with us voluntarily. She was asked if distribution's a problem. No. She said more than that, but I'm just paraphrasing. She was asked, is 12 million what you were expecting at this point? She said, I think we're on track. Would I love to see more? Of course, that's my job as CDC director. I want more. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, the rest of the interview is just her trying to put a nice, a good positive spin on it. But 3%, I mean, geez. That's, look, again, it's not like at the height of the pandemic where we had a medical system that was on the verge of collapse. So, again, if you're smart enough to make smart health choices, congratulations. And if you're not, there's nothing I can say. But, we'll move on from that because I do want to get to the update on what's happening in the House Representatives. But if you would like to join us, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. But Tom Emmer, Republican of Minnesota, apparently has been nominated. He has been chosen as a speaker designate by the Republican caucus, if you will, or conference, whatever term you prefer to use. And there's some talk about he might be able to get in if enough Democrats are willing to see. Democrats don't want to, they want to vote for Hakeem Jeffries no matter what. But if some Democrats are willing to take a walk, as they say, during the vote, not even vote present, but just literally just leave, just take a walk, that lowers the threshold. Although I think if they vote present, that also lowers the threshold, if I'm not mistaken. Forgive me, I'm not a parliamentarian, and I don't know why I can't say the word, so it's a good thing I'm not one. I'm not a parliamentarian, but I'm learning a lot, I feel. I feel we all are, probably more than we ever wanted to know about how this process works or doesn't work, fails us. But if enough Democrats take a walk, that lowers the threshold, meaning Emmer won't have to get to 217 necessarily. I think for every 2 that don't vote, it lowers the threshold by 1. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember from when Kevin McCarthy went through that 15 rounds of voting. But this was posted on Politico. Emmer's opponents dig in as his allies work to avoid a repeat catastrophe. In a strategy shift, the GOP Speaker nominee asked his detractors to air their grievances against him in a closed-door conference meeting today. It says here, here's the article. Tom Emmer is determined to avoid the same fate as GOP's speaker picks before him, yet 24 Republicans are already standing in the way. Fresh off Emmer's defeat of Representative Mike Johnson of Louisiana for the speakership nod, 26 Republicans have already indicated in another internal roll call vote today that they will not support the majority whip for the speakership. That's far more than the 4 members it takes to block the number 3 Republican from the gavel. And Emmer's team is still gaming out how to move forward. Complicating the picture further, former President Donald Trump, you might have heard of him, formally came out against Emmer's speaker candidacy today in a post on his social media platform. You may have heard of that. It's ironically called Truth Social. And Congressman Steve Womack of Arkansas said, quote, there are some people that are pretty well dug in and are not going to support the current designee as he has been voted on today, unquote. Representative Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania put it more bluntly when asked if Emmer could get to 217, quote, I thought he could, but apparently he can't, unquote. While the Minnesota Republican said he wants to go to the floor sometime today, he and his allies have made clear they want to land as much internal support as possible before taking the same public plunge that felled Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio last week. The strategy reflects a bleak reality within the exasperated GOP conference. Few members are relishing the idea of going to the floor just to have their nominee publicly rejected again. Oh, thought we had a call. We do not. 3 weeks of a dragged out speaker fight has exhausted patience within the conference. Yeah, we're in our 4th week now of this. And members are no longer hiding their frustrations. Representative Bill Huizenga? Bill Huizenga? Ha, nailed it. Of Michigan. Said, quote, I don't want us to go out there and, in front of the entire world, puke on our shoes again, or in other words, let's get our poop in a group, people, unquote. That's very graphic there, Congressman Huizenga of Michigan. I think I nailed it. I think that's how I say it. Huizenga? Huizenga? It's probably wrong. At this point, it's questionable whether Emmer can ultimately get to 217, putting him at risk of becoming the third failed speaker nominee since Kevin McCarthy's ouster 3 weeks ago. After the votes to determine who would support him on the floor, Emmer took a new approach by inviting his opponents to air their concerns about his voting record or other grievances against him, according to multiple House members. According to one person in the room, Republicans lined up at the microphones today to vent about Emmer's past clashes with Trump. Oh, see, it's all about Trump. It's not all about Trump, but there's other things here. His policy on spending and his support for Ukraine aid, as well as his votes to protect gay marriage against Trump's transgender military ban. Emmer worked to respond to each of his concerns in real time, though it's unclear if he changed any minds. Like Jordan and Majority Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana before him, Emmer has internal rivalries as well as some outside factors, including his Trump problem, that may prevent him from clinching the gavel. The ultra-conservative Freedom Caucus is expected to request a meeting with Emmer to privately vet him after a bulk of the group initially threw their support behind Byron Donalds of Florida. Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, for instance, wouldn't say after the final ballot today if she'll support Emmer on the floor. And Ralph Norman of South Carolina, another member of the Freedom Caucus, cautioned he isn't never Emmer, but isn't ready to help crown him yet either. He said, quote, a lot of us don't mind standing up. You can only lose 4. You've got to have an in-depth conversation. We are not going with a weak speaker, unquote. So what is a weak speaker? Someone who doesn't agree with you on everything? I mean, is there, I got to tell you, it doesn't sound to me like Emmer can do it, unless enough Democrats take a walk and allow it to happen. Emmer's insistence on uniting the GOP conference before going to the floor represents a big break from just last week when Jordan forced 3 votes on the floor, despite knowing he didn't have the votes. The Ohio Republican lost more support on each ballot before his colleagues eventually stripped him of the speaker nomination behind closed doors. By the way, that's how we all knew, I think, that Jordan had no chance. When they kept voting, he kept doing worse. If you remember, when Kevin McCarthy went through that 15 votes, it got a little bit better each time, except there were a couple of times where maybe he lost more than he won, but it looked like it was going in the right direction. But with Jim Jordan, I think every vote he had fewer than the before, but there were only 3. So who knows? Maybe if the process had gone on longer, but then again, when people are being threatened, if they don't vote for you, people don't like that. People don't like it if you threaten them, if they don't support your candidacy, or if people are threatening your spouse because you don't support someone's candidacy, because there was some of that going on. Yeah, people don't like that. That does not. I mean, I will say this. I don't know about Jim Jordan himself necessarily having anything to do with that, but clearly his supporters, some of them did not read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'll just say that. By the way, I never read the whole thing. I did read some of it. I didn't like it. There's reasons. Anyway, the strategy caused deep... You want to know what the reasons are? This was a long time ago. If I read it again today, maybe I'd have a different idea. But when I originally read some of that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, I remember getting in a few chapters in and thinking, wait a minute. So basically, what Carnegie seems to be saying is just be as agreeable as possible and people will like you. I mean, I didn't read the whole thing, so maybe that doesn't sum it up fairly, but that seemed to be, and anybody can do that. I don't need Dale Carnegie to tell me that. I can be as agreeable or disagreeable. JFed says, I assume referring to Jim Jordan, he said the voting was rigged. Let's see. Representative Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin said, quote, the longer we are mired in this sort of internal debate, the more likely it is that the Senate jams us with an omnibus or a threat of a shutdown or a supplemental that doesn't reflect any conservative priorities. It's going to be a sprint, referring to the legislative time crunch between now and Christmas, with a shutdown looming on November 17. A few weeks away. Representative Kelly Armstrong of North Dakota helped nominate Jordan, but made clear he wasn't eager to repeat the Ohio Republican strategy. He said, quote, I would really like not to. It just gets us into the minefield, unquote. If Emmer can't get to 217, multiple House Republicans are already prepping backup plans. Kelly has introduced a resolution to empower Acting Speaker Patrick McHenry until November 17. And while the idea encountered fierce pushback within the conference last week, Kelly said today that if Emmer falls short, it could add new life into the idea. He said, quote, either we get a speaker or we extend Patrick's responsibilities, unquote. Now, we've talked about that on the show, though. There's a problem there. There's a bit of a catch-22. Because... Oh, Jenny just sent me this. Tom Emmer drops out of speaker's race hours after being nominated? This is from CNN. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, let me open that, but apparently oh, here we go. I was trying to get that link to open. While that opens, so the problem with empowering Patrick McHenry with, the idea being, okay, until we can get to a speaker, let's give Patrick McHenry, the speaker pro tem, additional powers. The problem with that is, and why that won't work, or, well, it could work but they have to ignore the rules. They literally have to ignore the existing rules to make it work, is until there is an actual Speaker of the House, the only thing they can vote on is electing a new speaker. They can't vote on anything else. That's why none of the business is getting done that the House needs to do. So you can't, in order to give Patrick McHenry additional powers, you have to vote on that. But you can't vote on that because you literally can't vote on anything until you have a speaker. So that's the only thing you can vote on. So you can't hold a vote to give Patrick McHenry more powers because you're not allowed to. Now, the only way around that, in a practical sense, would be just ignore the rule and do it anyway. But I mean, I don't know how that would even work exactly. But let's look at this. So Jenny just sent me this. Tom Emmer drops out of speaker's race. Let's see here. Yep, Tom Emmer has dropped out of the speaker race, a move that comes just hours after he won his party's nomination, the latest sign that Republicans are no closer to electing a new speaker. Earlier in the day, Emmer's bid to be speaker appeared on the verge of collapse amid opposition from the right flank of his conference and fresh attacks waged by former President Donald Trump just hours after the Minnesota Republican was picked as the party's nominee. Several Republicans who oppose Emmer say they will not move off their opposition and are calling for a new candidate. Emmer can only afford to lose 4 Republicans, and 26 voted against him behind closed doors. Behind closed doors. Emmer voted to certify the 2020 election. Oh, the horror. Voted to keep the government open for 47 days. Oh, no. Yes, he actually voted for a continuing resolution. Apparently, Tom Emmer thinks government shutdowns are bad, probably because they cost the economy trillions of dollars and screw a lot of Americans over. Let's see. Voted for the bipartisan law to avoid a debt default. Oh, my goodness. So Tom Emmer was not willing to plunge the global economy into economic Armageddon. I guess he's just not for us then, right? Let's see. Boy, so far, I like this guy. He seems, what's the word? Reasonable and sane. And voted to codify same-sex marriage, all issues that members of the hard right have cited as issues. In a post on Truth Social today, Trump went after Emmer, saying electing him would be a tragic mistake. Let's see. I'm skipping down here because we're almost at the top of the hour. Melanie in the chat room says he seems like a total D. Well, he seems like at least he's got some pragmatism about him. Doesn't want to blow the whole thing up and light our government on fire and the country in the process. Yeah, geez. I'm just kind of skipping down to see if there's anything else new in here. Jeez. Well, this is discouraging. I had high hopes that something would get done here. I mean, I'm sure I probably disagree with Tom Emmer on a multitude of issues, but, the guy seems, like I said, he seems not completely nuts, which these days is pretty cool. That's something you want. You want a House Speaker who's not crazy, right? Oh, Rob Dion joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Rob. All right, well, let's do this. We're going to let's play this track. I see a musician in the hallway. Our guest has arrived, I believe. So we're going to get her in here, Kate from Darling Hill, and we're going to play this song called Break Free. And I like this a lot. It's pretty intense, and there's a pretty intense story behind it, too, from what I was reading online. So we're going to get her in there. We're going to talk with her, and we have plenty more to come in hour number 2. Don't go anywhere.
Young girl, say farewell to your father and hold close his lessons and his words so wise. You are my proud and loyal daughter. Remember, it takes just one man to cut you to size. He taught me how to make heart drawings, each half equally matched to make it whole. Remember, my darling, no one will ever love you like you do for yourself, deep within your own soul. It's my heart and your mother's that has made you. It's our two halves come together and makes your love whole. I saw him through the window, and the snowflakes made him look kind. If I had only known he was the devil, I never would have taken his hand in mine. I know I can feel my heart beating, feeling so small within his grasp. I never knew he would hold on so tightly, wondering how long this hell will last. My darling, I said that I love you. Oh, but that was a lie. It was the only way I could escape you, and that word love I'll crucify. I know I can feel my heart beating. I know now he will never let me leave his side. I tell myself no one will ever own me. Break free from this cage and fly to the sky. Break free, break free, his words, they rip my heart open, and his fists, they split open my eye, and the ground is cold and muddy, and this hill is too hard to climb. I put one foot in front of the other. I'll do whatever it takes to save this sad life of mine. I know I can feel my heart beating. I feel now I can open my eyes. Am I ready to break the mold I was born into? I tell myself I've never felt more alive. Break free from this cage and fly to the sky. Oh, break free, break free.
on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
You're listening to WMNH 95.3. The commander to the supreme leader, Matzo coming down.
Welcome back, everybody, as we enter hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, also on Comcast Channel 6 if you're in Manchester, and hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Tuesday, October 24, 2023. So nice to have you all with me. And joining us live in studio, she is at the news desk, Kate Schimke of Darling Hill. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We were just playing, coming back from the break there, we played Break Free, one of the amazing songs that you sent. And that's from your, is that from your most recent EP?
It's actually from my only EP. It's from my debut EP.
Oh, very good.
It's
very
kind
good.
of like a sampler. It's not really all that cohesive necessarily, but that's because I just kind of flew by the seat of my pants.
I gotcha.
When I walked in the studio.
Yeah, that's a long song. I love how it builds.
Thank you.
Really good. Yeah. If you have any questions for Kate while she's here, of course, 603-250-6007. The studio line is open. 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. You can hit me on social media at Matt Connarton. Email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But we would love to hear your dulcet tones at 603-250-6007. Jay Bello, of course, from the band Chasing the Devil in the chat room. He says, great tune, Kate.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. Also, yeah, you've been getting some love in there while that was playing. Trying to back. Oh, J-Fed from Vermont says, I dig this song. Yeah, Isaac Banks from Greensboro, North Carolina says, awesome song. Rob Dion, who, of course, is part of the WMNH family. He has his own show here through the Stage Door, and he does a weekly segment on the morning show with Peter White. Name that tune. He says, good tune. Yep, you're getting a lot of love in there. So very good, very good.
That was probably my most cathartic song. I kind of went in there with no agenda, but that song I didn't want to edit too much with it. I knew it was long. I knew it was going to be real dramatic and theatrical, and I just didn't care.
Yeah.
So I was like, this song's really long, and I'm like, I'm not interested, because when I went in there, a lot of the songs were, I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. And that one, though, I knew for sure that I wasn't going to cut back. If anything, I was going to add more. So it's kind of the experience. It's almost like two songs in one.
Okay.
There's this intro and then this epic build, like you said. It starts really simple and then ends with this basically Kaylin Chase screaming. So
yeah, DJ Steve is in the chat room from Retro Spectrum Radio, and he says, "Good afternoon, Matt. Great song." And yep, you're getting a lot of support. Hello to Lee Rensky. That's a new name in there. I don't know if that's a fan of yours.
No, I
hello,
actually
Lee.
I'm fairly new, so this is kind of my first time really being exposed.
Oh, very good. Very good.
I'm on all streaming platforms, but unless people don't know you exist, so please, all these people, please subscribe. I'm on Spotify, TikTok, all the streaming platforms.
Yep. Absolutely. Do you want to tell us more about that song Break Free? I read a little bit in your bio on your website, but
sure. It's it's probably the most, how do I put it in a nutshell, so to speak.
Yeah.
Basically, it's if you listen to it, you can kind of get the vibe. But about let's say 9 years ago, I moved back home from Maryland and experienced just a real bad thing. It was just one bad thing after another. It was just all the bad things that could happen to somebody happened to me in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was really broken down. I was an alcoholic. I was arthritic. I was newly divorced. I was on a rebound with a real abusive guy. And my dad was passing away from cancer. So it was just
geez.
I was literally in the gutter. I was in that moment.
That's a lot.
And some of it was brought on by my own alcoholism. Some of it I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But basically, the reason why my name is Darling Hill is because I experienced an assault on that road, but I actually also live on that road now. And so when I was healing after this traumatic assault, I decided to put down the bottle and pick up an instrument.
Yeah.
And decided to start my life over. I had a lot of support. And so I just started playing music and just really becoming obsessed and addicted to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up writing this song, about my history with my father, instilling me self-love and courage and empowerment and, just warning me of all the things in the world that you can encounter that are dangerous, but to hold true to yourself. And it ends with this moment of I broke free from those chains. Basically, I broke free from the alcoholism. I broke free from the abuse. I broke free from all of that. And now I live on the other end of the street on Darling Hill. And I live in a little cabin in the woods. And that's where I fostered my music. That's where I fostered my art. So now every day I wake up and go and leave the house, I see the place where I really hurt, but I also see the place I heal. So,
right. Wow.
So this song is very cathartic. When I brought it to the studio, that's why I was so hell-bent on it being just left alone and just see what manifests around it. So the producer in the studio knew exactly what I was putting down and helped me create that environment and that vibe.
So that was the first song you recorded for the EP, or
actually the first song I recorded was Quiver.
Okay.
I went to Nashville twice. So I went to Nashville. My girlfriend, who is a fabulous agent for Granite State Blues Society and a booking agent for Blues Pros, but she works for blues musicians, and I'm not blues, but she was like the lantern in the dark for me. She knew. She's like, look, I know these people in Nashville. Go to Nashville, just try it on. And I went down there, and the producer squeezed me in.
Yeah.
And I did Quiver and Garden of Crowns, and Quiver really lit me up though, because I put down the acoustics.
Yeah.
I still play guitar. You can hear me in the back, but I really wanted to dabble with the buttons and the knobs and the synth and all the samples and get out of that folk rut, because as much as I love folk music, I grew up with it. I really wanted to break free of that.
Yeah.
and find my own voice. So like people are always asking me, what's your genre? And I'm like, I don't really know yet. But when I went to Nashville and sat next to a producer who could pull those sounds out of me and create them, that's when I got really excited. So I went back and finished, spent about 8 days in the studio and finished up with the other tracks.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, our guest yesterday, Dakota Smart, also recorded in Nashville.
I watched him yesterday.
Yeah, he's amazing,
he's
isn't
great.
he? Yeah,
he's what, 5 nominee? Is he the
with
one?
the New England Music Awards. Yeah,
that's
five-time
impressive.
nominee. Yeah, just amazing. Yeah, what a voice on that guy.
Nashville's
too.
magic. There's something about going down there that my life is different now that I've been back here.
Yeah,
I've been immersed in the local music scene. At probably the most local level I could, and I was just itching for something else. And when I went to Nashville and I didn't even care about anything outside the studio. There's a lot of cool stuff, like John and June Cash were buried down the street. Like I was really close, to the music history. But all I wanted to do was just be in the studio and create.
Yeah. Miriam Banish in the chat room says, "Amazing music. She has a beautiful voice."
Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny too because some people, I assume, still have kind of this idea that Nashville, that's all about country music, and it's like, no, there's all kinds of music being made there, and
that's what I thought too. I thought the same thing, and then the more and more I started meeting local musicians, some of them were coming back from Nashville. I'm like, wow, I thought you would have to go to New York, Boston, L.A., but I guess from what I'm hearing, there's this mass exodus from L.A. of producers to Nashville. They just I don't know what happened, but a lot of people came to Nashville. And it is so a little surreal because there's like really iconic musicians just walking around everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like I had to pinch myself. I'm like, I had to remind myself where I was. It's like, wow, they're just like hanging out. Like, like it was just wild. It was really wild.
Did you have a chance to get on a stage anywhere while you were there?
No, but I got to see some shows,
Yeah.
Because I went with friends who know the scene. I went to a couple really cool, like low key places to see some, like Leroy Powell was one. At the Underdog, the 5 Spot. There are all these cool, local joints you could go to, and like everywhere you go, the music's great.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't get on the stage. Down there.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't even think I knew what I was even doing in the studio at that point.
Yeah.
Now I'd like to, yeah.
So part of the EP was recorded there.
The whole EP.
Oh, the whole EP was done there.
I just did it in 2 different. I did it in 2 trips.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And when did this come? I think you said already, but when did this come out?
I believe I dropped it in August.
Oh, okay. So not that long ago. This is. So you hadn't released anything prior to this?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, I've recorded.
Yeah.
And I've played gigs, at like bars and coffee houses and some small events, but not really. I don't really have like a big band. That's the thing. So that's the thing. I go to Nashville and I have this epic experience working with very qualified people in the industry. Like the supporting musicians on that album are top notch.
Yeah.
Like I was very lucky.
Oh yeah.
I'm still astounded every time I listen to it that I have the people on my album that I do. And if you go looking at my profile, I have links to who these people are.
Yep.
And now I got back home though, and I had a moment of like pure depression.
Really?
Oh yeah. No, you could ask my hubby, Aaron, like, I do have another half that comes with me on these things, but I wanted to fly solo today. But he can tell you, I got home, I was like riding this high, and then I get home from Nashville and I listen to it. I'm like, I'm a fraud. I'm a fake. Everyone's going to know that I'm like, I don't sound like this. Like all I have is the guitar. I don't have a band. How am I going to deliver? Like all this anxiety built up. But then I recognized that like, there's no linear way. There's no playbook on how to do things. And like, I took a moment and an opportunity and ran with it. And now I'm applying myself, and I got a keyboard. I'm learning how to play the backing tracks. I'm starting. It lit a fire under my tuchus. Let's put it that way.
Oh, cool.
So,
Jennifer Christman, if I'm saying that correctly, is in the chat room. Says it has been beautiful watching Darling Hill grow. Keep blooming.
Oh, thanks, Jen.
Very nice. Very nice. Should we play? You mentioned Quiver. Should we give that one a listen?
Yeah, I got a handful of tunes that I feel like define the sound and the direction I want to go in. And Quiver, Break Free, and Damsel Disorder are the ones that I'm really proud of.
Okay. Yeah, we've got let's whoops, where'd it go? Oh, there we go. All right, let's give this a listen, and then we'll come back and chat more. If you're just tuning in, we have Kate Schimke of Darling Hill joining us here in studio, but this is called Quiver.
walking through that room and see you sitting there, drinking in my stare. It won't be long now, oh, you'll be mine somehow. I want you to lick my wounds. I wanna howl at the moon. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I see the stars in his eyes, and it's no surprise that the symbols on our souls have a common goal. They scream, there's a hole in me, a hole in me, a hole in me, where I go to hide. You know there's room for two, a painted blue, and here your fantasies won't die. And I want a piece of you inside. My knees are shaky, 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 oh, and tongue between my teeth. My knees are shaky, 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 oh, and tongue between my teeth. And babe, there's something so familiar I cannot divide. I think I found my own kind. About you. I bet you think this song is about you. When will I see you again, boy? We don't have to make plans, we can leave it to fate. But babe, you know it's a fact. If we leave it up to that, oh, we might be too late. My knees are shaky, 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 oh, and tongue between my teeth. My knees are shaky, 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 oh, and tongue between my teeth. And babe, there's something so familiar I cannot divide. I think I found my own kind. Oh, I think I found my own kind.
Wow, that's cool. That is Quiver, Kate Schimke, also known, better known as Darlene Hill, and she is here with us live in studio at the news desk. And yeah, that's it's funny. We were talking earlier about genres and so forth, and yeah, I don't even know how I would describe that to someone if I was trying to describe what it sounds like. You know,
I wouldn't know either. I was in the studio and I looked at the producer. I go, "What did we just do?" Like I literally, I go, "What is that?" He's like, "I don't know." And he's so. When I went there, I was like, I looked at his portfolio. You know, by the way, my friend who brought me there, her name's Rachel Barnard. She's a phenomenal booking agent and very supportive.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I want to hear what you sound like. You know, I want to know too." And so when I got there, I looked at his portfolio, and he's worked with, Beck. He's worked with, I can't even think of it right now, a lot of people, but Beck stuck out to me because Beck is like out of the box.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can go in here and like ask him for the weird stuff. Like I want to get weird. I looked at him, I said, I want to get weird. These are the people I want to emulate. These are the sounds I like. You know, I'm a big fan of Danny Elfman. I'm a big fan of like the synth, nostalgic 80s, weird, dark stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right. So I just got in there and we started playing with sounds and some of those were happy accidents, some of those moments in the song, you know.
Yeah.
And I quite frankly don't even think it's finished. I actually left.
Really?
Oh yeah. If I had more time, I probably would have ruined it maybe. I don't know. But like some things you just got to let them be. They can develop over time, move on to something different. So
yeah.
Quiver was a song about just feeling weak in the knees over someone across the room you don't even know.
Right.
You know, and you think you have something in common with them, or they make your heart like beat faster, or you just feel lusty for them, not necessarily love, but
yeah,
kind of quivery.
Yeah. Do any of these songs, I mean, did any of them come out like really different than what you had in mind when you first wrote them?
So Damsel Disorder was literally like right before I got in the car to drive to Nashville. We drove down there and I found a songbook from like 2016. And I was flipping through it and I saw like 2 verses and a chorus. And I had no idea what that was going to say. I had an idea in my head, I guess you could say, like a direction that I wanted to go in. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to, like, what do they say, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. That's going to be the one I'm going to do this with. And before it was called Knives. And if you listen to it, you will know why. But I didn't want to be that literal. So I was looking at it and I remembered writing it. I was sitting in my kitchen and I was looking around the room. So because I was, I'll dip back into my past, I was pretty violently assaulted and it left me with some symptoms, and I'm not the first to discover that you have some magical powers after you've gone through such physical things. You tend to have situational awareness.
Yes.
You tend to have, you tend to want your back to the corner. You do it, you just do it naturally, it just comes with the territory. And so I was mad about that though. At first I was really angry. I was like, I don't want this burden. I want to just go places and feel safe and feel good about it. I was like, well, why don't I write a song about how I'm feeling, you know? And so I was just sitting in the kitchen and I recognized that I do notice where weapons are, like weapons was a big thing. Like, oh, that could be a weapon. This could be a weapon. But knives, I was like in the kitchen. Cool.
Yeah.
So when I walked in there, we kind of built the song together. And that was one that surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was real excited about that one because it was catchy. It was quick. And it was a little edgy, no pun intended.
Yeah. Miriam Banish in the chat room says, very powerful music. I love it.
Thank you.
She said, gives me chills. Wow, very cool. And our friend Charles Richardson from Florida also has joined us in the Facebook live chat. Are you actively performing these live yet, or are you still kind of figuring that out? Or?
Well, I mean, I'm open to bookings. I am working on, like, I've been practicing 2 times a week. I got my keyboard. I need a drummer. And I don't think I could get a drummer, overnight. So I get real shy about who I share my music with. And I really need to let that go. And if I want to break free of that. Yeah. But I do play out. I'm playing the Bull Run. Right now I'm just getting my foot in the door at the Bull Run, which is in Shirley, Massachusetts. I'm going to be playing in the Tavern, but they do have an event center there. Yeah. I would love to play more house concerts. If people want to book me for a house concert, I like those intimate environments more.
Yeah.
I am a recovered alcoholic, so I'm not a big fan of playing bars so much.
That makes sense.
Self-preservation kicks in, and I'm like, that's cool. I would love to play that, but I'll do it, but I usually get in and out of there. But I'm ready. I'm excited. So if anybody would like to book me, please go to my website and, I can be flexible, see what works.
Yeah.
They would get a version of Darling Hill. That would be me, my partner, Aaron Durman, who plays guitar, and my friend, Nicholas DeChico, who's playing bass and pretty much picking up the slack on everything else with the electronics and all that. So we are growing, but I don't have any intention of stopping.
Right.
So, any support we could get to be showcased would be great.
It's funny you mentioned needing a drummer, because it's something that's been a big topic on the show recently with musicians is, every drummer you talk to, it's like they're already in 10 different bands.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on with drummers too. They got the gear,
yep.
Just carrying the gear. And I live in a cabin in the woods that's 800 feet walk-in site only.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I live on a land trust and we live according to the land. So it's really great for creating art and music, and I host house concerts in my backyard. So that's like a whole nother thing. That's how that's how I've nurtured myself. I created my own music community. Yeah. And so I would book, promote, and donation-based house concerts in my backyard for 9 years. and just the getting the musicians to come and telling them you have to carry your gear through a forest, and then by the way, I don't even have a real bathroom. There's an outhouse, so it humbles the musicians real quick, and they either go, "Oh my God, that's awesome!
Yeah,
I can't wait to do that," and they love it. And then I got others that are like, okay, and they're a little hesitant, but once they get there and they see the environment and they see how intimate it is, because I really am at the root of it. It's about the art to me.
Yeah.
Like I love the whole marketing and like making the catchy songs and see but to me, I mean, the whole reason why I created this was so I could not let my mind go to dark places. It's very, very typical. So I did it in my own backyard because I could, because I had the property. And so now like I could book myself in my backyard all day long, but I would like to get out and, if there's a drummer out there that just needs a workout routine.
Yeah. I always say my theory about why drummers are hard to find is because when you're growing up and you first become interested in playing a musical instrument, when you have to have the talk, with your parents about it, and if you say, well, I want to play drums, they're like, drums?
Really? What a full body experience that must be, though.
Well,
really, like watching. So I had Shaky Folks, real sought after drummer. In Nashville.
Yeah.
And he got in there and just ripped it up, like brought those songs to life. I was just lit. I was turned on. I've never got my rocks off so hard in any capacity than watching him play my music and wondering what it must feel like to really embody that full expression of like over here, over there, wow, that's just a full body physical experience that you're having. And, I'm willing to buy a drum kit and keep it in my house.
Right.
If someone would just come and play and practice for me and book out.
Right. Jenny shared the website in the chat room too, darlinghillmusic.com.
Thank you.
Who does your website, by the way? It's a really nice, I'm a web designer, so
Me.
Really, yeah, you did a nice job.
It took years of practice. Thank you.
Thank
you so much. It took a long time of observing. So while I was honing my craft and learning how to play music and convincing myself that I could be different and still succeed.
Yeah.
I learned through other musicians, watching other musicians and booking them and promoting them and going to their shows and learning about the gears, behind the curtain and like all that stuff. And so by the time I was ready to do my own music, I wanted to make sure I at least looked like I knew what I was doing.
Right.
So far, I sound like I know what I'm doing. Now I look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, let's, what was the song you just
Damsel Disorder
mentioned?
was the other one I sent you.
Yeah. You sent me the whole, we might have time to play all 5 tracks, but yeah, you had mentioned Damsel Disorder a few minutes ago, so maybe we should, give that one a listen next. And you said this is the one that was originally called Knives, but
you'll know why when you hear it.
But you didn't want to go with the obvious title. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, now I'm kind of hoping I did do it because then like that meme with Britney Spears making the knife gestures. Have you seen that?
Oh, I have.
I'm like waiting for somebody to find my song on TikTok and make a meme with it.
Right.
But it's called Damsel Disorder.
All right, very good. This is Damsel Disorder, Darling Hill. Check it out.
Damsel in distress is what I do best, 'cause I know where all the knives are, 'cause I know where all the knives are. Unfinished business has already left its scars, 'cause I know where all the knives are, 'cause I know where all the knives are. Thoughts turned into lyrics. they're my secret. Now I know where all the knives are. Now I know where all the knives are. Adrenaline, taste it, it's my territory, I'll stake it. Oh, whoa. Now I know where all the knives are. Whoa. Now I know where all the knives are. Don't let them harm you, bend you, break you. They only knew your enemy's lie within you. Now I know where all the knives are. Whoa. Now I know where all the knives are. Whoa. Turn my thoughts into lyrics. Whoa. Turn my thoughts into lyrics. Whoa. Now I know where all the knives are. Whoa. Now I know where all the knives are. Whoa. Now I know where all the knives are. Whoa. Now turn my thoughts into lyrics.
Damsel Disorder is the name of the song. That is Darling Hill. And we have Kate Schimke of Darling Hill here with us live in studio. That's great. It's catchy. And I like how cheerful it sounds, you know.
I know, I like that.
The now I know where all the knives are. It's very cheerful.
Well, I would busk. I used to busk. So I started with a ukulele and then I shifted over to a banjolele.
Really?
Which is basically the same thing, but I threw like a metallic string in the C chord.
Yeah.
And it gave it a twang. And like I did find it quite funny when I'd be busking at like Parker's Maple Barn or like on the side of the road that people would be like bopping their heads and I'd be singing like folk songs about murder and like cocaine and stuff.
Right.
So I kind of liked that. What's the word? That contradiction of peppy and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I dig that. No, that song really does it. That's cool. If you have any questions or anything at all for Kate, the studio line is open. 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Jennifer Christman in the chat room says, a message from Ellen Schimke. She loves your music, watching you grow, and is so proud of you.
That's my mom.
Oh, very nice.
My family.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. They've been very supportive.
Let's see. She also said from Judy Russo, how awesome it is that you are able to turn pain into purpose. Just love hearing your voice, whether it's talking or singing. So happy. Whoops. Oh, sorry. Oh, so happy you are now no longer a damsel in distress.
Yes.
Keep on rocking.
So these
Kate.
are people that have witnessed the whole Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
Started from the bottom, now we're here moment, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miriam Banish says, Mr. B. Gentleman Rhymer plays what'd you call it? A banjolele?
Yeah, I played a banjo lately, yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, me neither until I didn't want it. Like, I liked the ukulele. It got me started. It got my fingers used to playing strings, but.
That was your first instrument?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
wow.
And, you know, I got kind of sick of it, you know, and I noticed when I started playing guitar that I sounded better vocally. There was more notes to blend with. I could experiment more vocally. So I started to, you know, develop my voice, which quite frankly, I've been told that, you know, it might be what sets me apart. I do sound very different, but because of that, I was always very not confident, you know, because I have a lot of really talented friends that are their range is really good. You know, they sound top notch. And I always, you know, you're going to compare yourself.
Oh, of course.
Even, you know, no matter what. So I knew that I didn't sound like most people. I was very aware, but I just decided that it didn't matter. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to do this for me first. Yeah. That's what all this was about for me. I got real selfish. And yeah, the opportunity to go to Nashville was very, very expensive. Just the travel expenses alone were very expensive, but it was a very defining moment. It was really, a good thing.
Is it challenging to recreate those songs live? I imagine they change,
Yes.
right?
Yes, they do. I mean, now actually I perform it better now that I've heard it through a big production studio. I do have more confidence, but yeah, I don't have like a backup vocal. Like I said, I don't have that drummer, but I still have that energy, vocally. My vocals do just keep getting better. I'll pat myself on the back there. So, it's definitely it was a learning curve coming back there. And I once again, I didn't want to let it stop me. I had a moment where I dipped and I was like, I'm a fraud. I'm this, I'm that. Everyone's going to know. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Imposter syndrome, it sounds
That's
like.
exactly what it was.
Yeah,
But I was like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And I started looking into other musicians, and a lot of them don't create their music until they go in the studio, and they don't know what they're going to sound like, and then they figure it out later. I think Blaze Foley was one. I've been learning a lot about Blaze Foley. I've been real captured by his story, and he even said, he goes to the studio and creates it, and then he would hire musicians later to emulate that. So when I can afford all that, I will. Yeah. But right now, it was like a goal. I'm 40 years old. It was a 40th birthday thing that I did, and fortunately my husband was very supportive, watched me go through all this. My husband also works in audio, so he was very interested in just going in general. So he's a microphone designer for Earthworks Audio.
Oh, no kidding.
So when we went, there was this other whole agenda, to see, because quite frankly, the gear that I used was very iconic. Some of the gear I used was used by Scott Weiland, a very famous microphone. I don't know. He got real excited about the microphone. All the guys were excited about the microphone in the room. I was just happy that Scott Weiland sang into it. That's all I cared about.
Right.
But there was this back end history of technology that this microphone's never been made the same way. It was like a Newman U47. I don't know. It was real special.
Yeah.
But all I was hung up on was Stone Temple Pilots. But
yeah.
I was like, you're telling me Scott Weiland spit into this? Okay, cool. So,
right.
So that's all I needed to get jazzed.
Yeah.
So he got to see, from an audio engineer perspective, a real high-end recording studio. He's seen it before, but it's been a while for him. So
now, are you already thinking about the next one?
Absolutely. I already got songs. I want to go there so bad. I want to go right back. There's a lot of studios in New Hampshire that I'm not going to pretend don't exist.
They're everywhere. Yeah.
They are kind of tucked away.
Yeah.
And I did work with a real I don't know if you've ever met Charlie Chronopoulos. He's a phenomenal local musician.
I'm very aware of him. I don't think I've met him. I don't think I have.
You should.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to go to Nashville before the lockdowns, and then the lockdowns happened, and then I just resigned myself to never going to Nashville. I thought it was a pipe dream. Silly me for thinking I could go. And so I just kind of refocused locally, and I met Charlie Chronopoulos. We're part of an art community. And I met him through the art community, and he's very, very humbling, very grounded, down to earth person. But he's phenomenal on stage. So I was a little intimidated at first, but when I met him, I was like, hey, how do you feel about recording me? So I went up, and I spent about a year with him, and he approached me from a very gentle angle, where he just put me in the room and let me play live, and he worked with me, and just having that experience with him. By the time I was done, Nashville came back on my radar, and I had an opportunity to go, so I went. So I give a lot of credit to Charlie Chronopoulos for being my coach through that. And if any of your listeners haven't heard him, go check him out. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. And maybe I can give you his contact and he can be on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Because like I said, I've always been aware of him. It seems like his name has come up.
He actually got played locally. Obviously it wasn't this one, or else you would know, but he was played in a local station, and I know he plays around Manchester and Concord.
Yeah.
But worth your time for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Are you writing a lot? Do you have a lot of song ideas?
I have about I have one that's literally called Back Burner.
Yeah.
That I haven't recorded. I have one that I did record in Nashville, but I wasn't happy with it. It was one of the tracks I did where I was it wasn't hitting the mark.
Oh, okay.
So I probably have about 6 songs in my books that I could probably go back down and record if I wanted to.
Yeah.
If I had the money.
Yeah.
Or find another studio. Once you go to Nashville, I feel like it's it's kind of like crack. Once you go, you want to go back. You get a taste and you want to go back. And like I said, the studio musicians there are wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did have a really great connection with the producer down there. So I do feel like it was I compared working with Zach from Wild Feather was Wild Feather Recording right outside of Nashville.
Yeah.
And he really cares about your music. Like it's intoxicating how much he cares.
Yeah.
Like, and he will do whatever he can to make sure that he gets that sound.
Yeah.
And it's like, I told my husband, I was like, it's like I got out of class and it's playtime and I get to play in the playground with Zach all day long. Like, it was euphoric. Like, it was just so much fun. So I'm kind of addicted to working with him, but I would like to broaden my horizons and work with producers locally here as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Are there any, so there's a song that you did there that didn't make it onto the EP. Are there others, or just that one that you decided not to put on there?
No, that was the only one that I actually attempted to record that didn't go on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to record Back Burner. It's like about being the back burner in a relationship. There's a song called Backbone for the Backlash, which is basically, I didn't know it at the time when I wrote it, but to put that one in a nutshell, it's basically about cancel culture and just doing it anyway and saying what you want to say anyway. And, no matter what, because that's just the world we're living in now. No matter what you say, someone's going to get upset.
Of course, yeah.
So long as you have love in your heart,
yeah,
right, all that Buddhist crap, as long as as long as you can sleep at night knowing you're a good person, then do it. Then see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So that song I really did want to record, and I just wasn't happy with. I just didn't like it. I was like, no, it just didn't feel right. So I would like to re-record that one as well.
When that happens, does Zach, is his name?
Yes.
Does he? What is he like? When you say to him, I don't think this one's working out. Does he try to talk you into keeping it? Does he try to help you figure out what's not working, or does he just say, okay, we'll move on? Like, what happens in that scenario?
Well, in this scenario, I could tell you in other scenarios, if something didn't hit the mark, like say on Quiver or Break Free, I could tell him and we would, work and calibrate. And there it is. What happened with Backbone for the Backlash was, it was almost like I tried to squeeze too many songs in at once. So this one just didn't develop as well as the others, and to put it in with the other ones would have been like Bad News Bears. It would have been like, because like if you do play my other songs, you're going to notice, your listeners are going to notice, it's very different from what you just listened to. So the last two songs on my EP are very folk oriented. They're very folky. And so Backbone for the Backlash was also very folky. I had like this Irish folk vibe to it, and it just didn't hit the mark, and we just didn't have time. Just didn't have time. And I told him, I said, if I can go back, which is a shame because Kaylin Chase gave background vocals for that, and Kaylin's worked with Korn, he's worked with Melissa Etheridge, he's worked with Chris Cornell. That's why when you hear those tracks with him backing me up vocally, they sound so epic. And they do hit that mark. But there was just something about this one, we just didn't have time. I needed to scoot. I needed to come back to New Hampshire. I couldn't stay anymore. So it's on his radar if we were to ever approach it again.
Okay. Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have time to fit another track in. I know I think we played the three that you wanted to make sure that we did, but you did send me.
If I had to pick the last one, I'm gonna and this one will go out to my family because this song is called Garden of Crowns, and this song is actually the song that my agent friend heard, and she said, you need to take that song to Nashville. It's beautiful. So when I came back home, I met the love of my life, Aaron Durman, and I was getting ready to marry him, but I was also really sad because my father was no longer with us. He passed away within like 3 weeks after I moved back home.
Oh, wow.
And so there was this weird mix of I had this weird mix of joy because I survived this attack and I survived all these awful things and I was getting out of these bad things, but my family and I were also still grieving.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to write a song to express how I feel. That's what I do. Instead of picking up a bottle, when I start getting those feelings, I'm going to pick up a pen and paper and just do that.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at my pictures of my mother on her wedding day, and she was wearing a daisy crown. And I like the theory of the circle of life and love, and like when something ends, something new begins. And so when I would play this for my friends, Rachel Barnard heard me and she goes, take that to Nashville. She's like, I do wedding catering on the side. I'm telling you, that song should be played at every anybody who gets married is going to want to play that on their wedding day. So I would like to dedicate, this to my mom and my sister and anybody else in my family who may have gone through tough times. Just know it does get better. The only way out is through, and things are secular. And
oh yeah.
And this is homage to my experiences growing up. Listen to my father. My father was a musician. He was a bass player, and he was very much, immersed with like the Appalachian sound and the folk sounds and Johnny Cash and, you know, May the Circle Be Unbroken and like all these heavy stringed instruments, you know. So it was a lot of fun to play this in Nashville.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, by the way, Jennifer Christman in the chat room says, Garden of Crowns, story of our family's love. So thankful you wrote it.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. And by the way, Quincy Raymond, also known as Quincy Lord, is in the
hey, Quincy.
is in the Facebook live chat. Yeah, he was on the show.
I just
the
watched
other
him.
day.
Yeah, I saw that he was on. I listened to you, Quincy.
Yeah, no, he
Much
was
love.
fantastic.
He's played at my house before.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
He really worked my crowd. Yeah.
Oh, very
My family
cool.
got to see him. So if my family's listening, Quincy's listening as well. He was on the show last week.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. All right. So let's give this a listen. So this is Garden of Crowns. This is Kate Schimke, better known as Darlene Hill. And she was just telling us all about it. So let's take a listen.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
She wore daisies on her wedding day. Love-linked stems that's here to stay. They're a constant gift for tabletops to prove that their love won't stop or ever lose. A fastened crown of flowered weeds made by children who run through trees. A daisy crown will be worn by daughters of a queen and little girls who were never heard and unseen. Tell me, love, what can we leave behind? For when we die and lie side by side, side by side, plant seeds, pray with the sun. You know our story's ended, theirs has just begun. They'll be watered when the tears start to flow. And in our grave, a garden of crowns will grow. A daisy crown will fall fast apart, leaving love strong in our minds and hearts. But just when you think it's dead and over, our garden of crowns comes to life with clover. Da 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 da.
I love it. Garden of Crowns. Darlene Hill and Kate is here with us in studio. That is great. DarleneHillMusic.com is the website if you want to learn more about Kate Schimke and her project, Darlene Hill, and the EP. And fantastic. I love it. Great stuff. Do you have any do you have any live shows coming up that you want to mention? Are you going to be playing out?
Well, I hope that I get some gigs between now and my gig at the Bull Run. So I do have a gig at the Bull Run on December 30th. So you can pregame your New Year's Eve with me at the Bull Run. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I've never been.
It's in Massachusetts, so I'm aware. I'm like in New Hampshire, but like we're right on the border, right?
Yeah.
So it's in Shirley, Mass. It was built in like 1770 something. It's got a lot of history to it. There's several different rooms to it. There's like function halls, and there's a lot of weird folklore affiliated with it. There's like an ego pantis on the wall. I'm not going to tell you anything else about it. You got to go look. And so I'm really excited to play there. I'm hoping that'll bring me more opportunities. So no, I just finished some gigs at Marco's on Main and Air. So once again, for some reason, I keep getting pulled to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely open and willing to book in the area for sure.
I think years ago I worked at, do you remember Strawberries?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
We sold tickets there, and I feel like Bull Run was one of the venues that we
It's a
sold
hot
tickets
place.
to. Yeah.
I was real tickled. So my good friend Nicole Ruggiero from Marty's Driving Range is right down the street from my house, and I had the privilege to play her end of the year local music day. So I went and played there, and in doing that, I got a gig at the Bull Run as well. So I do just got to get out of my comfort zone, get out of my little cabin in the woods, and get out there. Like I said, house concerts are my jam. You know, I really like house concerts. If people know what that is, it sounds pretty self-explanatory. But there's some planning involved. So if that's something if you would like to host me, it's like a Tupperware party, but with music, you know?
Yeah.
So if you are interested in hosting that, and you have the right accommodations, let me know. Hit me up at info@darlinghillmusic.com or any of my social media platforms or my website. You know, you can find me anywhere online.
And if you're a drummer.
And you like what you heard, I really need some support there, of course.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And like I said, I'll buy the kit. So you don't have to haul it down my trail.
And
practice.
Is there a maximum requirement in terms of how many other bands they can be in?
I mean, so long as I'm number uno, you know.
Go. That's how you do it.
Oh, it's all right. I'm willing to be flexible. I mean, I played just with my guitar for years, so you know, I can wing it for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Kate, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I love the project, Darling Hill. Really good stuff. And we're going to wrap up in a moment, but if you missed any part of today's show, if you missed any part of our interview or anything in the first hour, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnarton.com. And tomorrow, our musical guest in the second hour will be Slim Volume, returning to the show. So that'll be a lot of fun. I really look forward to that. But so we're going to wrap up here. And let's see, it's Tuesday. So if you are listening live on WMNH, immediately after this show is Through the Stage Door, hosted by the great Rob Dion, who we saw in the Facebook live chat. And then coming up at 7 p.m. is a replay of Friday night's, last Friday's Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And I have the honor and privilege of being one of Paul's co-hosts on that show. So check that out. And by the way, this Friday is our 3rd anniversary here of Retro Spectrum Radio at WMNH. Yeah. I can't believe it's been 3 years of that show. So Friday is my favorite day of the week here at the station. It's my long day here, and I love it. All right, so we're going to wrap up. Kate, thank you again.
Thank you.
And the website is Darling Hill Music and darlinghillmusic.com. And all right, we're going to go Slim Volume tomorrow, and I will talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.